where Poe comes into play, there are two types of Poe. There's Poe the historical figure, which is absolutely crucial to our story, to Richmond's story, and to everyone here in this room. You've all had to write a horrible 10th grade English essay, I am sure. But something is still bringing you here. And my guess is it's not that English essay. It's probably the Poe caricature, which you are all a part of creating. Brit and I were actually just talking about this. And that caricature is just rooms and rooms and rooms of exploration and influence.
I love the darkness, and I love the romanticism and the caricatures and all of that vibe. I'm totally down with that. But I also think that the darkness or whatever, the spooky, provides this kind of whimsy. It's almost humorous sometimes with like the tragedies. You're like, oh, that sucks for you. What happened? You were in a wine cellar, like chained to a wall. My bad. Like. So I think that there's kind of a humor in it, and I like both of these things, the humor aspect of the dark, but I love the spooky. So.
And other than that, we really try to take people and give them an experience and step them into a different time. I think nowadays we can probably all agree that a lot of people are looking to have more experiences than they are actual things and objects. So that's something we really get to give people in order to keep it interesting and up to date.
We're often turning people away who say, I've drawn Poe, or it is actually a favorite. We have a tally count now of how many times people say, I've done something no one's ever done. I've reinterpreted the Telltale Heart. Have you been on Pinterest? Okay. And there's, we would be completely uncivil to say, oh yeah? But what we love is we're able to say, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Because I don't even care if it's bad art. You have to say you do have to tend to be very good and have a bit of a following of your own because the competition's pretty hefty. But come anyway. Come and share what you do and get to know us and ask questions. And we want to find out what inspired you, because that's the relationship about Poe and pop culture.
I've always been obsessed with Halloween. Obviously, come on. I had a mom who would dress as a witch, and not just kind of a witch. She had this nose that had this wart, and it was gangly and green, and then she would do it and then tease her hair out and go all out, and it was always just a fantastic time, with the candy and the romance and the excitement and the scary, but it always felt very comforting to me. Rather than just, oh, it's spooky. It's oh, this is home.
The thing about Poe is that so much of his horror is what we know him for, but there's way, way, way more to him than that. Did you know he wrote comedy? It's not funny, but he wrote comedy. And he wrote poetry. He wanted to be known as a poet. There's actually a very young picture of him, and he looks he's kind of hello there. He's kind of hipster-esque.
Just people in LA that are just into the spooky because of Hollywood, and I was how can you goths be out here in this weather? How do you wear black when the sun is right here? It's crazy to me, but it's all over, and I will praise the internet because it kind of is a way to connect with someone that is all over the world.
I really like a little humor mixed in with horror. And Morticia Addams is someone who I've idolized that character is something I've idolized my entire life and always been very, very sad I'm not tall. I was her for Halloween several years in a row, and my mother each year would make a gorgeous, costume rendition of her, and I tried to pull it off, but she is, if you really look at her in the movies, She's the rock behind that family. She is the strong woman. She runs that household.
The decisions you are today are because of those things you overcame before, the decisions and choices that you made. Because you wore those skeleton earrings and you said, you know what, one day I'm gonna go and moderate a podcast about women in horror. But it helped shape, but by my pushing open that door as a kid, it helped to shape who I am today.
No one expects you to be Elvira, although everyone should. She's fantastic. I love her.
I came to Poe as a fan, not as a scholar or anything, but there's an expectation, and my guess is it's probably true in your world too, that there's a favorite horror story, whether it's Poe or another writer or another influence. So what's your favorite Poe story? And they're expecting their favorite Poe stories, which is a caricature-based story like The Black Cat or, you know, Cask of Amontillado or something. And there are some creepy stories, don't get me wrong, but it's almost like a projection. I get Poe junk every Christmas. I don't need another Poe t-shirt with a bad Poe pun.
There have been like little things of sexism or whatnot that you'll see, and I don't know, I guess it mostly happened with vending or whatnot. Sometimes people will say things, so I do think it's alive and well, but most people are learning, are trying to learn, and sometimes it is an opportunity, and sometimes it's also like, I can go away.
Is that sort of, so you were talking about like vending more like in a con setting?
Yeah, mostly conventions where people feel like, you know, I've just spent 20 hours working on this, doing all the research, making sure that it's good, and then someone will walk by and being like, oh, well, her boobs should be bigger. And you're just like, I have nothing to say to you. Walk on, fool.
I've never run a nonprofit with 1.6 million website hits a year, quite frankly. I've never run a capital campaign. And I'm terrified to do it. But I can't wait to give it a shot because that is the skill that I learned by pushing open those doors. And it turns out, it's just a bunch of dust and ugly curtains.
You kind of have to have a good sense of humor in this sort of business because we do find humor in the macabre. And so I just say you kind of have thick skin and soldier on.
But it was a little bit of a blend. It was like Charleston, South Carolina, and Vermont, and DC, and all these places, and Baltimore even. They all had a love child. Because there's all of these layers, and what's amazing, and I think, was it Brit or Paige? I forget who I was talking to earlier before the podcast, but it's welcoming of the red vein on it. It's welcoming of anything we discover that's new about Poe, or of a new version of take your dog out for a horror. I love that. Or somebody else has a new idea that is a competitor, but as you say, competitive business drives business. And the Poe Museum certainly benefits from all of that. And Richmond seems to be just a wonderful place that wants to celebrate that. It seems, I hesitate to say it, and I reserve the right to take it back, but it does seem somewhat non-judgmental in a way. It seems to say, come on in, and if we don't like it, we'll tell you. but it'll steer, and it progresses, I think was the word you used.
Yeah. I love the historical aspects of things. I love finding the facts. I love finding different weird things. And I found that if you go looking for the facts, you'll find the weirdest stuff. And like, it's absolutely interesting. I guess I was doing this circus illustration one time, so I was reading this book about old circuses in the like 1920s or whatever, and I forgot her name, but there was this lion tamer, big cat tamer, and she was very attractive, and of course everyone was always after her, and she was always sly, and you know, that kind of what you would think of in the 1920s type of person. And you know, someone's like, oh, and they, you know, have they stars in their eyes asking her, like, oh, how is it, you know, how is, you know, being a lion tamer? And she undressed and she was full of scars.
Whoa.
Just scratches. She's like, it's like this. So like, yeah, how does that not give you chills, guys?
Right. We see a lot of women authors writing horror.
Yes.
And in fact, our mission at the museum is to interpret the life and influence of Edgar Allan Poe for the education and enjoyment of a global audience. It's a little clunky, but what I love about it is that the women take that and say, let's run with it. Let's own it. Yeah, let's brick cement up in the walls. Let's do it. But there are a lot more women writers out there. I will say, just as an aside, there is a male writer out there who, I think he's Danish, and he wrote about murder of the curator at the Poe Museum. The worst thing I don't want is us to make the top of the fold for like a Poe reason. Not business I'm interested in, but I think women are carrying that forward.
Halloween itself is the second largest grossing holiday in the United States. You know, the horror genre as far as films is super big. It's that big because everyone has an interest in it. So if you're interested in it, just go for it.